Hello? Hi everyone, today we're going to explain how to install Evang. Before installing Evang, we also need to install this software. Click Yes. When installing these software programs, we don't need to change the installation path or select any additional options. Here we just need to click Next to install. Click I agree, then Next to install. Next. It asks if you want to display some previous versions. If you're interested, you can take a look. If not, you can uncheck this option. And then we click Finish. Click Next here. Right now, you're installing a packet capture software that helps us better understand how data is transmitted across the link. Click Next, Next, Next to install, and then click Next to finish. After completing the installation of this software, it doesn't mean you can directly use Evang yet, because Evang is a virtual machine that we open using VMware. So first, we need to install VMware. Click Yes. The steps are the same as before. You just need to keep clicking Next to install. Click Next. I agree, then Next. Next to install. Click Finish here, and you'll see a new VML icon on your desktop. Open it. Here, if it's your first time using it, and you don't have a VMware serial number, that's okay. In our installation package, there is one. You might notice the name is very long, because it includes the serial number at the end. If you plan to use it in the future, just copy and paste this part into the field where it asks for the serial number, and then you can click to install. Now, if you plan to use it in the future, here we open the virtual machine. Find the location of Evang on your computer. Its file extension will be .ova. Click to open it. After opening it, choose a location where you want to install it and give it a name. Here, we click to install. After the installation is complete, we can now see that we can choose to modify some parameters. Here, if your computer has 16 GB of running memory, then we choose 8 GB here. If your running memory is 8 GB, then we choose 4 GB here. Based on everyone's situation, we can extrapolate from this, and besides that, we also need to modify the processor. Here, we normally select 4 cores and enable virtualization. This option must be checked. It's crucial. We also mention a 50 GB hard drive. If in the future you import too many images and the hard drive isn't enough, you might not be able to log into the web interface. We can choose to add a hard drive from the bottom left corner. In addition, we also need to modify the network adapter. Here, we need to select VMNet, and after selecting it, we click OK. Now let's start Eve. This is the Eve interface, but we won't be doing the configuration here. What we need to do is open a browser and configure it there, managing everything through the web page. I recommend using Firefox because it's more convenient for automatically associating plugins. Let's double-click to enter, and here we need to input the IP address we've obtained, which is 192. 168 258. What you see now is the Eve interface. Let's enter the username admin and the password is Eve. After entering the information, click Login. Here, you can choose whether to save. We can see that the password is 1v1 and the username is admin. Save according to your own situation. After saving here, we can create a new topology and give a name to the experiment. You can name it based on your situation. For example, let's call it 1 today. After you've named it, click Save. After you finish naming, click Save. Save what you see now which is the topology just created. Here we can choose Node. To choose a device you want to build, a device you want to configure, for example, here we choose Cisco's. Cisco, if it is L3, it means it is a router. If it is L2, it is a switch. Here we will use the router for demonstration. Click Save to save. If you want to turn on the device in the future to see how to configure it or want to configure the device, right-click Start. After it unfreezes, we need to double-click it. It will ask you if you want to use the appropriate software. To debug our 192.1 to 168.242.128, which means whether you want to open and use some of the devices on it with the corresponding software. Based on your situation, click Open Link to access the relevant link. In this, we need to wait for the device to start up. If we open this R1 in the future and want to debug it, it will ask us whether we want to configure it automatically. We choose No to configure it manually. Now we have entered the command line of the router, and we can use it to configure it in the future. In the future, if you don't want to use the default pretty, you can also install it on your computer or a mobile corresponding software. Then I will show you how to import our image. We don't have many devices available at present, so what about the future? More manufacturers are involved. For example, if you want to debug Hillstone Networks or some other Cisco equipment, H3C equipment, or Huawei equipment. So we all need to import images, and to do that, we need to install additional software. Here we select a folder and click to install. This is how we import images from Windows. Again, just click Agree Next, and you don't need to modify anything. Click Finish here, and you'll have another icon on your desktop. In the future, when you select the protocol, make sure to choose SCP. After selecting that, we will input the username, which is the IP address we just obtained. So, what is its IP? His IP is 192 points and 168 points. The IP is 192.168.242.128, and you don't need to modify the port number. For the username, we enter root and then input the password and click Login. Click Yes here. After logging in, we need to move the image from the left side, which is in our Windows system, to the right side, meaning to our 1v1 in Evengi. Now, on the left side, select the current location of the image on your computer. For me, it's on the desktop, in the Eve folder, where I have a folder named QEMU. This is the folder for the image files. Click in, and there are many images inside. Here on the right, we need to choose a directory to install the images. In our upper folder, there's one called optopt. Next, we need to go into the next layer. Here, click on this folder, and then we select Commute. In this section, we can drag from the left to the right. For example, right now I want to add a Huawei device, or other additional things. For example, during this process, we can choose to install this one, and then we can drag from the left to the right. Click OK here. Wait for its transfer. Now, when you double-click inside, you'll find that there are things there, and if we go back to Evang and click on Node, you'll see the items we just moved over. In the future, when you use it, you can also import your own desired device images. This is the installation tutorial for Evang. If you need the Eve installation tool mentioned in this video, feel free to contact me. It's free.